Time to round up a big story from the week. Protests continue over the shooting death of a black teenager by a white police officer in Chicago. A Burger King manager says he testified before a grand jury last week about police deleting surveillance video that may have captured images of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald in the moments before he was shot by Officer Jason Van Dyke. Van Dyke has now been charged with first-degree murder after court-ordered release of dashcam video from his squad car shows him shooting McDonald 16 times. That's our topic this half hour, and we want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send a tweet. Be sure to use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our Roundup panel. It's led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
All right, I see Chris has got his orange tie on, so he's going to kick things off with why.
Because as we cover U of H all the time, great win this week.
Thank you.
The best university in Texas won its first playoff game last night. And people ask me, why do you do this, Chris? Sally, it's simple, because our fans have become accustomed to my in-depth sports reporting, leaving us to wonder and ponder just one question: Nate who?
Oh, no, that's wrong.
No, Nate Griffin will be up later with a look at your college highlights. I think he's just talking U of H, though, later on. Sorry,
Exactly,
Chris.
exactly. All right, let's talk about this Chicago thing. First, watching this video is horrific to watch and take in exactly what happened here. The debate over it taking a year for the grand jury to indict this officer, I think, is somewhat misplaced. Every jurisdiction handles their felony investigations differently. In Harris County, Texas, we go to the grand jury rather quickly, generally in 90 to 120 days. The DA's office here can get a case to the grand jury. Other jurisdictions, even in Texas, will take 8, 9 months or a year before they go in. Had they rushed this thing into the grand jury, we may have never found out about the police deleting that tape from the Burger King. And so is it wrong to take a year? No, it's not wrong. It's not right. It's the way they handle things. And I don't think, Jackie Bally, that the eruption that we're seeing in Chicago and the protests would have ebbed had they gone to the grand jury much sooner.
I think we need to let the process play out. I agree with your comments. This gentleman had 18 complaints from prior to this incident, 18 civil complaints from different people, and one of them resulted in a jury awarding the victim money. So clearly that's a signal. I mean, there are complaints about cops all the time, but that's excessive. So I think we need to let the process play out and see exactly what's going on, which is what they're doing. And I think looking at this particular gentleman, we need to do that. I feel sorry for the shoppers who are going in Chicago, because one of the best points of going to Chicago is the Magnificent Mile, and a lot of them have nothing to do with this, but I do understand why the protesters are peacefully doing this. The president, which you will never hear me say again, the president had very appropriate comments this time as opposed to what he said in Ferguson. He said he had empathy for the victim, but yet he still supported his men and women in uniform. And that is what you want the commander-in-chief to say. That is how we want him to carry himself. And
the shopping problem is not an issue because it's not December the 23rd yet. Now, Mustafa, look, the protest is saying you should have released this information earlier, much earlier. The DA is the one that's got to make these decisions on how to investigate, what the timing is, to make sure that they get the job done right.
Yes. But at the same time, there's information that's coming out in drips. There's no audio for the tapes yet. Nobody seems to explain why that is. There's a videotape that's missing from, as you mentioned earlier, from the Burger King. This came out from a whistleblower and an open records request, the additional thing. So it has a sense of a cover-up. It seems like a lot of people knew a lot more about this, but the information hadn't come out, and it didn't come out in a way where it was the police department and the mayor were being forthcoming. It came out by the information being pulled out by the newspaper and others. So that's the issue. And police officers will tell you that one bad apple should not paint the entire police, officers across the country with the same brush. The issue with this is not just that this is another shooting, but there is a sense of cover-up by more than just the police officers, by management, by city officials.
All right, let me go to Sally, because I want to talk about that, the people's right to know with respect to the media coming up. Sally's got our social media.
We have posted several videos and stories about this on our Facebook page throughout the week, and we've gotten so many comments. Salvador first says, why don't they protest the gangs that kill numerous people in Chicago on a daily basis? races. John says, for all of you people of other races asking why they're protesting, for an entire year, no indictment was handed down. Police tried to cover this up by erasing video footage. An indictment does not guarantee a conviction. And then Courtney says, what's the point in releasing the video for the public? It should only be revealed in court, she says. How can we eliminate a much bigger threat to our nation if we are too distracted tearing up our own cities?
You know, I want to comment on that first long tweet when he said an indictment doesn't ensure a conviction. No, it doesn't. But that's the process. That's the system we have. And there is no other system. And I've said this for years, and I'll say it again. The day that we say we don't like you, we like you so little, we're not going to give you the full protection of our Constitution. The Constitution doesn't work for any of us. And so that gentleman was wrong. The system is playing itself out. One of the things that we hear, and we hear it on these tweets right now, Jackie, is that the people need to know sooner. But the people's right to know has to fall behind the process and the criminal justice system, and it falls behind the defendant's right to a fair trial.
Yeah, we need the process to actually play out. We need the legal process to play out. So I disagree with the statements that we need to know sooner. I think we need to let the legal system play out. And also one thing that one of the commenters said that why aren't they protesting about the gang violence? They're right. Chicago is 15th most dangerous city in the country. But Alpha Phi Alpha, which is the fraternity to my sorority, they actually went into their communities and were talking about black on black crime, which is 91% in Chicago, and saying we need to help each other, not mess up our cities, not riot in our cities, and we need to stop blaming other people and other races and work with one another. So they are doing that.
We're out of time. Final thought.
Look, I think this poses another challenge for police officers that are working very hard to protect us and try to build bridges with communities. This is just one more incident that's damaging to that effect. So we need to take that into account. Like we need to hold the people that were responsible accountable, we also need to be, accommodating with our police officers and working with our police departments to build better bridges.